Advancing your in-house SEO career can be incredibly lucrative and fulfilling, but most advice is very theoretical, often too high level, and plainly comes from people who haven't done it. I had the good fortune of a very fruitful in-house career, leading large organizations at companies like Atlassian, G2, or Shopify. And over the recent years, I had the honor of helping companies like Ramp, Hims, Nextdoor, and many others hire top-tier talent and design effective teams. But my experience is very subjective, so I asked 4 of the most accomplished SEOs in the world to share their insights as well. Malte Landwehr has been an SEO for over 18 years, worked at companies like SEO Factory, K.0, or Searchmetrics, and currently spearheads SEO as vice president at the German shopping company Idealo. Jordan Silton has been an SEO for over 16 years, worked at Search Discovery, Relevance Advisors, Coaster Group, Angie, and now runs growth as vice president at Rent. Tom Critchlow has been an SEO for over 18 years, worked at Distilled and Google, started the SEO MBA, and now runs audience growth as EVP at Raptive. And John Shehata has been an SEO for over 19 years, first at Advanced Internet, then Disney, Condé Nast, and now as the founder and CEO of NewsDash. Thank you all so much for sharing your valuable insights. To get right to it, SEOs need to succeed at 5 core competencies for a fruitful long-term career. In this video, I'll show you what skills you need to fast-track your SEO career, how to apply them, and what resources you should look at to go deeper. If you're a leader, by the way, you can absolutely use this framework to hire and develop your team. The 5 core competencies you need to develop for a stunning SEO career are communication, learning, business savviness, technicality, and leadership. Each of them is critical. You cannot just be strong in 4. You need to be strong in all of them. Based on my personal experience and, of course, the insights from John, Malte, Tom, and Jordan, I created this circle of core competencies that breaks down into 3 subskills each. You can download this on www.growth-memo.com. Skill 1 is communication, and it breaks down into 3 subskills: alignment, collaboration, and outward communication. Creating internal alignment means helping everyone understand what matters in SEO, how to get buy-in, and contemplate what's happening in crisis, for example, when an algorithm update hits your site. Since SEO is a recommending discipline, it's critical to collaborate effectively with supporting teams like engineering, design, content, etc., but also with adjacent teams like legal or procurement. It's easy to fail here, so be cautious. And the third communication skill is outward communication. How do you present yourself and the company at events or on social media? External comms and appearance can be really helpful when it comes to hiring new talent. Skill 2 is learning, and it breaks down into adaptability, experience, and filtering. Adaptability is important because Google's algorithms and design changes a lot. Just think about the shift we're going through with AI search right now. So you need to be able to shift gears, leave old mental models behind, and develop new ones. Experience is critical because you can read a lot about SEO, but doing it is a different kind of beast. To learn, you can have 1 or more side projects to tinker with, but also analyze and reverse engineer competitors and SEO best practices. It's also important to at least know the basics of other disciplines because they all impact SEO. For example, copywriting, positioning and messaging, conversion optimization, but also design, web development, and product development. Lastly, you need to get good at filtering information. What do you read? How do you learn from experiments? And how well are you connected to the industry so you can learn from peers? Skill 3 is business savviness, which breaks down into planning, focus, and execution. Planning is a crucial skill for almost anything in life. You need to be good at setting goals, priorities, timings, and responsibilities. You also need to know what resources you need and get good at pitching for them. And lastly, you want to get better at forecasting and projection where your efforts might land in terms of impact. Focus is the skill of working on the most important projects while tuning out the noise. It's measuring the right data to know whether you're successful and to report upwards and sideways. Good execution, the third sub-skill for business savviness, is really hard. In my experience, it comes down to good project management, but also understanding how your business and industry works. You'd be surprised how few people actually do that. The fourth skill is technicality. And we're not talking about technical SEO here. We're talking about things like automation, data analysis, and a technical general understanding. Automation is about doing work more efficiently while controlling for dependencies and liabilities. This skill is rapidly becoming more important as AI gets better. It used to be about proficiency with Excel, Google Sheets, SQL, web analytics, etc. But in the future, a lot of it will come down to prompt engineering and workflow automation. Data analysis is the skill of getting and analyzing data. So you need to know which data to look at, but also how to interpret it well. And lastly, a good technical understanding comes down to learning how Google works, but also being technical enough to talk to engineers and product managers. For example, you want to learn what tech stack your company site and application is built on, but also what the engineering team works with, etc. Our fifth and final core competency is leadership, breaking down into advocacy, hiring, and relationship building. To be clear, you should develop leadership qualities whether you have management responsibility or not. The first subskill here is advocacy, which means representing SEO where it matters. Advocacy demands you to be proactive, so educate others and find out where conversations happen that impact SEO. Good hiring skills come down to whether you have a high bar and if you can bring in good talent. Again, you can apply hiring skills whether you're a manager or not. And lastly, you want to get good at building relationships. You need allies and quote-unquote friends to lean on and learn from. You also want to get good at coaching others and finding yourself a good coach. Now, these 5 core competencies offer you a helpful template for the skills you need to develop. But without understanding how to apply them, they're only half as useful. Hard skills are not as important as soft skills in SEO because you need to constantly adapt to Google changes and learn new hard skills as tech and consumer behavior shifts. You want to write down and refine your mental models about how Google works and what drives success. So I'm talking about literally writing down for yourself how you think Google works. And then force yourself to explain and think about why things are the way they are, because it allows you to truly refine your approach as an SEO. You also want to balance 2 things at the same time, which is being confident in your approach, but open to new insights. Let me quote Jeff Bezos here: strong opinions loosely held. This is really hard, but most people never think about where they want to be and what it takes to get there. But without focus, it's very easy to dabble in too many areas and waste time. So the question you want to ask yourself is, what are you optimizing for? 2 things that I can offer as advice to help with this. 1, you can always change your goal, but you should have one. I love Ray Dalio's 5-step framework for success for endgame planning. And 2, what skills do you think are needed in the next 3 to 5 years? I actually think that's one of the most important questions to ask yourself right now as we're going through this technological shift of AI. I want to finish by leaving you with some top-notch resources you can use to keep developing yourself. You'll find links in the description and on www.growth-memo.com. Malte suggests Learning SEO by Alida Solis, which is probably the most comprehensive repository of SEO learning material. Jordan recommends 3 books. 1, Turn the Ship Around by L. David Marquette. 2, The Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. And 3, Never Split the Difference by Christopher Voss and Tal Raz. Tom suggests, of course, taking a look at the SEO MBA, which I can highly recommend, especially the SEO Maturity Matrix. But he also gives a shout out to the Lethane blog article, A 40-Year Career. And lastly, John mentions the Moz Beginner Guide to SEO, the Wix articles about SEO, the SEMrush Academy, and the Ahrefs Academy. But he also recommends the books Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek and Lost and Founder by Rand Fishkin, and the Harvard Business Review case studies, which I can also personally strongly recommend. Thanks for tuning in. As always, you can read the corresponding article to this video and find all resources that I mentioned on growth-memo.com.